I'm a Democrat from Connecticut, Senator from Santa Fe, New Mexico, owner and operator of the Auto Body Express. You got your son an apartment?
Yeah. So me and Bob are moving the furniture in over there yesterday.
Yeah.
And I know the neighbor. You know what the neighbors I know they're thinking?
What?
There's a couple more queers moving in.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you homophobic goon.
So I kept calling Bob a bitch, you know.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
When are you supposed to meet the governor?
He's a nice guy.
Rutherford?
Yeah.
What did Tom Rutherford used to do? He drank or did drugs or what?
Well, I do know that he was the proprietor of the first head shop in Albuquerque.
Child pornography as well.
No, I didn't like child pornography, but I mean, you know, you low-rent weasel.
I didn't sell it.
Well, no, but you bought it.
I performed in it. Close for it.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Everybody who's of the day, Imus in Washington's senior political analyst, the late Richard M. Nixon.
You, okay? Everything all right?
Yes.
May I get you a glass of water or anything?
No.
I'm an extremis.
What are you doing?
Just want to make certain you have all your emotions in check. Hope you didn't face some crisis over the past couple of days. Sam Donaldson retiring or something that might push you into clinical depression and another Bob McNeil crying jag. You know, the staff's right. You really have become radio's version of Ed Muskie. Just a big old blubbering cotton-ass dope. Has Deirdre started measuring you for a leash yet? You know, so you can lie down and she can drag you around that apartment like she's been doing to that cat of yours? And wouldn't it figure that that's what you'd bring to the marriage, by the way? A cat. Why don't you just go out and get a job in a florist shop and be done with it?
You.
Well, I'm sorry for the harshness, J.D., but we want back the I-man who had the edge. The one who'd wonder out loud what Bill Bennett would look like naked in the sack with Ricky Lake. You know what I'm saying? With a bone the size of Newt Gingrich's ego, for God's sake.
All right.
Anyway, enough of that. Issue 1, William Jefferson Clinton, the human flapjack. He missed his true calling, Dono. Should have starred in a TV series about a dolphin. They call him Flipper. I've lost track, Guy. Is there one issue on which he hasn't changed his position?
Well,
I mean, other than the oath of office? The way they're trying to marginalize Hillary now, I fully expect that the next item he flip-flops on will be his marriage. Any day now, we'll see a news item stating that the president now blames Republicans for having saddled him with Hillary Rodham Clinton and has vetoed her. And it goes on, having been vetoed, Mrs. Clinton will be returning to Arkansas, where she'll resume dropping her G's to once again tailor her speech to a specific audience.
Yeah.
In this case, 3 molared crackers with their index fingers in their noses and their flies open, who sound like what you'd get if Loretta Lynn had a baby by Lou Ferrigno. Give me a break here. Jeez. I don't know why I'm so negative today, Dono, but I like it. Issue 3, and I'm damn near out of time.
Good.
Vince Foster, sign this roster. I don't think so. What the heck are we hearing here, dude? These handwriting experts are saying we've got a paint-by-numbers suicide note.
Well,
they're suggesting that at best, Foster wrote that little farewell a la Weekend at Bernie's, with somebody duct-taping a pen in his hand and then shoving it around on a piece of paper. Actually, you know how they really determined that it was a forgery?
No.
It was the first document out of the Clinton administration that made any sense, if a little whiny. And issue 4, as I hit the door, are congressional Republican majorities, in concert, Guy, passing this landmark sea change budget legislation, shrinking government, slashing taxes, rolling back social program after social program. House Democratic leader Dick Gephardt, and perhaps you heard him saying, and I quote him, "It takes my breath away." Well, if that's the case, Dick Nixon says, pass it. Anything that would take Dick Gephardt's breath away has got to be a plus. Please get out, you St. Louis simp. An angry look through the Dick scope today, J.D., but a view of great clarity, nevertheless, from Dick Nixon, a dead guy. Thank you.
Beep, beep, bye, bye, boo, boo, bum. I smell smoke in the auditorium. Charlie Brown, he's a clown. That Charlie Brown, he's gonna get stoned. Just you wait and see.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
Imus in the morning.
I used to have a fat phone.
Highway Patrol.
Imus in the morning 2024 rolls on. Brown takes the snap, bounce back in the pocket, throws deep over the middle, wide open. It's complete to Sherrard. To the 10, 5, touchdown Giants.
A giant of a win at our nation's capital. Good morning. Mike Braidwood, Sports Bob Papa with the call on WOR Radio. Giants beating the Redskins at RFK 24-15. They're right back in the playoff hunt.
You're a dope.
Meanwhile, the Jets' playoff chances took a severe blow as they lose to the Colts in Indianapolis 17-10. Jets were driving for a big score at the end of the first half. Had a 4th and goal inside the 5-yard line, and instead threw a touchdown to the other team. 97-yard interception return. And that pretty much did it. And running back Adrian Morrell actually said this after the game.
We played a very excellent game, I think, offensively and defensively, and special teams.
Jets now 2-7.
That's what my brother said. My brother said they played very well. It's just that they lost.
Okay.
Well, Indianapolis was a pretty good team, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Well, my brother said the Jets played better, but they didn't win. I know they didn't win, but I pointed that out to Fred, but he said, well, they played better.
I forget that you always look for the silver lining in every cloud.
Well, no, but I mean, you know.
17-10.
I understand that, but they played.
Colts 17.
Fine, they suck. Okay.
New England Patriots played pretty well, too, but boy, they just came up short as well. In overtime, losing at home to Carolina.
You know what's really great is with this, with that satellite deal, the DirecTV thing, 30 minutes past the hour, Liz Smith and Ted Kennedy, and Scott Muni and Fred Imus, they're all coming up. Smith. Good morning, Liz.
Indecent exposure is celebrated as a virtue. It's a world turned upside down. So says the conservative William Bennett, referring to the war that he and hunky Democrat Senator Joe Lieberman have declared on those tabloid talk shows and their insipidly smarmy hosts. Now, I'm not for censorship, but if they're really serious about taking arms against the sea of low-life, scum-sucking, ambulance-chasing, pain and suffering exploiters, give me an Uzi. I want to blow that smirk off of Jerry Springer's face myself. It's unusual that this action should be brought about in part by Lieberman, seeing as most of the people he works with in the Senate could serve as guests on these shows. You could do a week with Ted Kennedy and Chris Dodd alone. Not that there's a lack of Siamese twin crack addict dwarves out there in the private sector. As a matter of fact, the hosts themselves could take turns as topic subjects on each other's shows. And that's one of the reasons why it's difficult to take issue with these opportunistic maggots. They appear perfectly willing to exploit themselves for ratings. Jenny Jones got jugs full of material out of her botched breast implants. To this day, I can't watch her show without playing a little game where I try and guess which is the bumpy one. Why, for one show, she even ended up making herself an accomplice to murder. Hey, what's a life, especially a homosexual one, if it's gonna get you a 30 share? Whether it's the short, bespectacled, and annoying, like Sally Jesse, Gabrielle Carteris, and Jerry Springer, or the porcine, stupid, and annoying, like Ricky Lake, Carney Wilson, and that baby Huey doofus, Gordon Elliott, the lowest common denominator is hit with a laser scope accuracy time and time again. So why are these shows so popular? Because on the whole, we're all the lowest common denominator. There is something reassuring and comforting about watching an 800-pound woman tell some pathetic simp who's desperately trying to look sympathetic how as a child she was sexually abused by transvestite, lactose-intolerant space aliens. Somehow it makes those of us who come home to the trailer to our hideous spouses after 12 hours at the asbestos plant, or who simultaneously iron boxer shorts and breastfeed our 8th child while making dinner, feel that our lives are not all that tragic after all. There is a sweet joy that comes to us through sorrow, but there's an even greater joy when that sorrow is somebody else's. That's called Schadenfreude. A German word, as obviously they know a lot about grooving to the suffering of others. But I tell you, yes, me, I'm content enough with the knowledge that as bad as my life might be, at least I don't look like Carney Wilson.
Liz Smith here on the Imus in the Morning program. It's October 30th. This is an assistant professor of psychiatry and a supervisor in the human sexuality program and director of the stress program over at Mount Sinai. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Why do you suppose Eileen just has this inability to be truthful about any of these sexual episodes in her life? And then what was most shocking is yesterday she revealed what a horrible, painful experience it was. Yeah.
I know what the pain was from.
Oh, no.
He hit her on the head with a beer bottle.
Thinking maybe Bernie?
An empty skull bang in the back of the pinball machine.
If your radio light sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the Morning.
Jesus, my God, have you no shame?
Pool table burns on her hairy head.
Imus in the Morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
12 minutes till the hour here on the Imus in the Morning program, and my telephone is about the size of a pack of more cigarettes.
Now, here's the deal.
Yeah.
You need a new phone. When I show you my phone,
We'll be out
and
there.
by the way, a lot of people came up to me and could not believe you're walking around with a fat phone.
No, I don't have a fee. Well, wait till
You have a fat phone.
First of all, you don't
You're
have...
coming out to the open. Why don't you change your logo there, or what do they call it, your jingle?
Yeah.
To Imus in the past.
If your radio light sucks in the morning,
out there.
you're listening to Imus in the
So
morning.
you're going to get a new phone?
This is a fine phone.
And you think it fits in your pocket, right?
It does fit in my pocket. Look at that, Charles, doesn't it? Yes, it does.
Here's what you have to live with.
Yeah.
Your picture was in the paper talking on a fat phone.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Pathetic. It's an article about Breen. Breen, a true rising star who's savoring the ride. Listen to this. All right. I have to credit Don with being a major help to me, Breen said. I'm going to throw up. I owe him a lot. He's just an incredible entertainer. You pathetic suck-up. I was misquoted. Well, you must have been. My quote was, I hate his guts. I hope he dies soon. Well, that's better.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Why is Ms. Angelo lobbying against Jeopardy? Because she says it's racist. It doesn't feature enough African-American contestants, man.
I would like to take the NBA for $200, Alex. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not going to take the NBA for $200.
I would
Shut
like
up.
menthol cigarettes for $300, money.
Imus in the morning.
Not necessary.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
The Michael Fund dinner.
Johnny, Kovacs last game.
Coming back after 4, don't go back.
Mike and the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
From the college
Imus in the morning.
20 Sports rolls on.
Second and goal from the 4. He keeps the ball and throws it. That's it. Good. Caught in. Through the goal line. Touchdown. Good Flanagan.
Bears beat up the Vikings. Good morning. Mike Breen with Sports. Jack Buck and Hank Stram with the call on the CBS Radio Network.
Did you watch that game?
Some white noise, I'm
That's exactly what it was for me. I did not
That
watch
was it.
I had it on, but I was not. I read Time magazine.
Yeah.
Was tense and flipped through Mary Tyler Moore's book. I mean, just not happening.
Nothing. You didn't miss much.
I mean, who cares? I mean,
It was on TV, and I could see there were moving figures, and that was it.
It was a sporting event, and it was on television.
That's all.
Other than that, man.
Oh, 14-6 Chicago win in Minneapolis. 4 straight for the Bears, who were in first place in the NFC Central. Coach Dave Wannstedt knows why.
Talent, yes, but character. That stuff doesn't happen unless guys are mentally strong, disciplined, and we got an awful lot of character in that room right there.
You know, shut up. Just shut up.
Not taking yourself so
man.
seriously.
Jesus God, it's a football game, you moron.
People running back and forth on a ball.
I mean, get out.
Character. How about steroids?
Mike, I think that's kind of a pessimistic, negative view to take of all this, don't you think?
If you think it doesn't happen in the NFL, you're being naive.
Although you do wonder, you look at, for example, the University of Nebraska's offensive line.
Yeah.
The average weight is, I think, 299. I mean, how does a kid who's 20 years old get to weigh 300 pounds unless you...
Well, you know. Just 6 months ago, he was 148 pounds.
Yeah, just big bones. Not in that weight room, I mean, that's...
Sure. Dedication, I meant.
Pumping an iron.
Darn right. As for the Vikings, they've now lost 3 in a row, but their coach, Dennis Green, says not from a lack of effort.
I thought our guys fought hard and long.
Well, yeah, it was 60 minutes. And you lost, so...
Vikings are now 3-5.
But what do you say when some nitwit, like Breen, not that Breen's a nitwit, but I mean some moron sticks a mic in your face and tries to ask you about the game that you just lost?
Yeah.
So it's just not happening, right?
No, sir.
Now, continuing his mission to regain political viability, here is the billionaire industrialist, founder of United We Stand, H. Ross Perot.
Amos, look at this article here in Mother Jones. Corporate downsizing. Check these figures. Eastman Kodak cuts 14,000 staff. CEO's pay before they axe everybody is $1.8 million and change. After, his pay goes to $3.9 million. Now here's Westinghouse. Dump 5,000 jobs. CEO goes from 713,000. And how the hell does somebody survive on 713,000? Anyway, goes from 713 up to 1.3 million. Al Dunlap over at Scott Paper chops 11,000 losers, goes from a poverty wage, 618,000, to $3.5 million. and IBM. Old Lou Gerstner ethnic cleanses 36,000 of them, and his check goes from 2.8 to 4.6. Here's my question for you. What do we learn out of this?
Well, first of all, it's unfair. The geek at the top cashes in while the poor slop down there in the trenches gets a shaft.
No, you idiot. Good thing you don't run anything.
What?
The message is fire everybody. Downsize your butt off.
Yeah.
I got better than $1 billion now. If I can the whole damn shebang, first thing you know, I'm rich. I won't have to start a third party. I can just buy one. The Democrats. I mean, have you ever seen anything so pitiful?
No.
Talk about being on the ropes. Got that little mousy fella from Nebraska, Senator Bob Kerrey, on Meet the Press the other day,
Right.
in running Clinton on this budget deal, and all but throwing in with the Republicans. Interesting response he got out of Tim Russert, wasn't it?
Well-
Russert wondering whether Clinton wouldn't get so mad that he'd want to saw one of Kerry's limbs off. Jesus. I mean, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how'd you like the play? Pretty lame if you're asking for oath. I'll drop it. Last thing here, Amos, the other Senator Kerry, pretty boy from Massachusetts,
Yeah.
getting heat for telling his wife to walk it off the other day after she got mugged.
Well, he didn't tell her to walk it off.
Whatever. Anyway, what's that say about relationships and everything like that? I remember when them lesbian Martians tried to crash my world-class daughter's wedding. I confronted them, Amos, told them my daughter's wedding wasn't big enough for me and a bunch of flying saucer moss munchers, and to just get the hell off my lawn. I think John Kerry could take a lesson out of that, don't you?
Well-
I'm talking to you, hearing aid boy. Hello?
I'm here.
Final thought, Amos. We've had enough peculiar people living in the White House, and it's one more reason you ought to vote for me. Heard the latest about Colin Powell?
No.
Got an old lady living in the Prozac projects, Amos. Anna Powell, turns out, got one of them Tom Eagleton Joneses going for her, and has to take some kind of medication to get her antifreeze to balance up with her windshield washer fluid so she don't go into a funk. Do we need a funky first lady? Let me answer that for you. Funk that? No. General, stay home, keep fixing up old Volvos, and just fade away, okay? Wait a minute. Better rethink fade away. I gotta be careful nowadays, Amos. Everybody's so damn ready to jump on you and scream insensitive, angry white man, honky race-baiting bastard at you. So maybe don't fade away, General. Just go away. And you can use that for your shove it Farrakhan soundbite, Amos. And much obliged for having me on your show.
I love you! I love you! Anyhow! I don't care if you don't want me, I'm yours! Right now! I'll put a spell on you. Because you're mine! 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 In the morning!
You're humming, I, gentleman. Do you remember the guy on Fred Allen, Falstaff Openshaw, who would say, I have written a poem?
No, I don't.
There once was a geek named D'Amato who offended all persons Yamato. That is by the way, the official word for the old Japanese nation. He bombed badly on Imus, so maybe it's time us vultures struck him with a tomato. Now,
This is something now, but do you have Calvin Trillin on hold here?
If your radio light sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the Morning.
Are you attacking my friend Geraldo now, who's
no, as a matter of fact, I grudgingly had to admit that he put together three intelligent sentences on your show this morning, and I might as well.
Do you box, Mr. Cabot?
I would in his case.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Patrol.
All right, here now with comment and observation on headline issues of the day. God bless John Wayne, Jerry, be in L.A. again tonight at the Improv. In San Francisco at the Great American tomorrow, and in Santa Cruz at some Kawamba Jazz Center November 2nd, then he's going to Seattle. Here he is now.
Kinda like an Indian, beating on his mandolin. Lucky fall in his Asian friend, smiling back from the place they're in. Heroes mother hides in Austin, waiting for a loan. Preachers, teachers working down in Saigon, trying to make it on their own. Engine ladies with a cement head.
Freeman, when he was with the Texas Jew-Boys and kind of like an Indian, Miss Nickelodeon. Last time, well, it was a number of years ago.
What's that?
Well, that's a human being who at certain times of the year changes into a wolf.
You mean runs around on all fours and bites and snaps and bays at the moon?
Oh, even worse than that sometimes. What is it? Imus in the morning.
Now, train.
Frankenstein was the first in line, and the Wolfman came up next. Dracula was a-doing his stuff, breathing down my neck. Jump back, make tracks, here comes the hunchback. Better get out of his way. Beep, beep, bye, bye, bull, bull, vomit was a monster's holiday.
Imus in the morning.
The old Buck. Sure as hell like him. Everybody knows when it comes to ground oatmeal.
Following their tough set.
Imus in the morning 2024 rolls on.
He had an injury to his thumb approximately 3 weeks ago while sparring. The injury is basically a break in the thumb between the main joint of the thumb and the tip of the thumb.
The Tyson fight is off. Good morning. Mike Brain with sports, sponsored by Nationwide Insurance. Dr. Gary Marone with the chilling words of Tyson's thumb injury, and there'll be no fight against Buster Mathis Jr. on Saturday.
So they ruined an entire night of television because we were going to get to watch Tyson first around 8 o'clock on Fox, and then segue right into the pay-per-view with Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield. Now we're stuck with Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe. Yeah. And that fight's not going to be on until 11:30
come on.
Eastern time.
Screwed again.
So Tyson, what are they thinking about? It's that Rock Newman. God almighty.
He has something to do with his thumb injury.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tyson will be out of action 4 to 6 weeks. He'll have to find other things to do in that time. And Tyson said he didn't want to cancel the fight.
I was basically, I thought I could sneak it through. I wasn't thinking professionally. It's not my job to think as a doctor.
No, I guess it's not.
No, not your job to think.
Period. To think as a doctor. Although he was a pre-med student at one time.
Yeah.
One man who this certainly affects is the opponent, Buster Mathis Jr.
Well, I heard something about his thumb that I caught it as a fake, so maybe it was a rumor that it was going on. But now everything's true now, and I hope that my personal Mike. I hope that everything will be all right.
Yeah, he's real disappointed. Nobody's happier not to get into the ring.
He sounds like he's taken a couple of too many punches already.
I don't know how you can say
that.
Well, the other fight, though, as mentioned, will go on. Riddick Bowe will
Tell me I'm incoherent.
Not a fighter. Sports Talk Radio taking a hit with this news. Many stations sending their host out to Las Vegas to broadcast live from the site of the fight. But even with the news of the cancellation yesterday, some explosive radio. Here in New York on WFAN, the hot topic was the Yankee managerial situation and whether George Steinbrenner blew it by not rehiring Buck Showalter. Co-hosts Steve Sommer and Russ Salzberg began their disagreements slowly.
I don't think it's Buck Showalter's place to be calling George. I think it's George's place to be calling Buck.
Why?
Because the ball is in George's court.
Why is it in George's court?
He's the owner of the team.
But the war of words escalated.
You want to look at Buck as being this wonderful, can't do nothing wrong person. Who passed that rule?
I'm not saying that Buck can do no wrong.
Well, that's what you're saying about
No,
this.
that is not
sure
what
it is. You're saying
Stop yelling at me.
You're saying Buck has to be the liar and the other guy's not.
I want you to talk to me in a calm voice.
But, you do this all the time.
Why? I don't do
Yes,
anything.
you do.
What you do all the time is yell. Now you stop it and talk like a man.
Hey, Steve.
You talk like a normal person to
Let
me.
me tell you.
Well, they work together. And that's what Russ does. He's an inarticulate buffoon. He's a nice guy, but he can barely put a sentence together. And so then we had an hour yesterday afternoon of him screaming at Mike Francesa and Chris Russo, these two other nitwits that do this radio program on this radio station. Well, here's the controversy. George Steinbrenner, who's a convicted felon and a fat Nazi. He and Buck Showalter, the manager, couldn't, for some, who knows, they couldn't reach an agreement on Buck continuing as the manager of the Yankees, so Buck's not now going to be the manager of the Yankees. His contract expired last night. However, now we have the specter of the hitting coach, Rick Down. And Steinbrenner fired Rick Down, the hitting coach, who was a good personal friend of Buck Showalter's. And the speculation, and I forget whose, it's either Francesa's or it's Salzberg's or somebody's. The speculation is that the reason Steinbrenner fired the hitting coach is because he knew that Buck wouldn't continue to manage manage the Yankees without his friend, the hitting coach, being there.
Right.
And there was some discussion about whether Steinbrenner had the right to do that or not. Well, he owns the team. He can do what he wants.
Sure.
He's ruined the New York Yankees. But if he wants to, it's his deal. He's a boorish, gutless, fat pig. Yep. Somebody who, for example, would never, like O.J. Simpson, in spite of Larry King's assertion, would never appear on this program under any circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
George Steinbrenner is a fat, gutless coward and a convicted felon and the true sense of the word, a punk. But at any rate, now you want to know what? You want to know what? Yeah, get a tape. There's a tape here available. Have you and Craig go through a tape. Give me a tape.
Sure. And shoot.
Sounds unbelievable. Have Craig just put together all the... Craig, put together all the you want to know what so many times he says it. I mean, it's maddening. Maddening. And they think it's great radio. These three idiots screaming at each other. That's him as well. I don't know what else.
Charles Oakley has been suspended one game and fined $6,000 for throwing a punch in the Knicks' final preseason game. So the Oakman will miss the regular season opener on Friday in Detroit. And that's sports.
I mean, you'll be off into a segment of America's media featuring Walter Cronkite and a callous disregard of the truth.
November 16th, 1995. A day like all days, filled with the events that alter and illuminate our times. Illuminate, unlikely, but alter, there's no question. For the 16th of this month is the day when the Westinghouse Corporation, principally a manufacturer of second-tier kitchen appliances, takes over the Columbia Broadcasting System, CBS. Well, Westinghouse reversed the slow, excruciating decay of what was the Tiffany Network till Larry Tisch ruined it. Well, perhaps. At least there's a glimmer of hope. The new ownership may already have made itself felt, for confronted by a 19% audience drop, disastrous, viewer mail uniformly saying, "You suck," and CBS overall mired in third, if not fourth place, as affiliates run screaming to the other webs. 60 Minutes legendary producer Don Hewitt appears to have awakened from a long and fitful sleep. How to fix his aging, failing show? Interviewed Julie Andrews, the beloved epitome of polish, propriety, and poise, and have her show you her titties. Yes, move over Richard Bay. 60 Minutes is in the house with Julie Andrews' sweater meet. Victor Victoria, revealing Victoria's secrets, as it were. A controversial ploy, to be sure, but one that generated a lake of ink. And after all, isn't that what counts? Outraged or otherwise, response to Ms. Andrews' bazooms strongly suggests to this revered old scribe that Hewitt is indeed onto something and should further pursue a course towards filth. A revamped 60 Minutes opening. I'm Ed Bradley. I'm Morley Safer. I'm Mike Wallace. I'm Steve Croft. And I'm Leslie Stahl. Those stories, Andy Rooney, and my titties next on 60 Minutes. A subtle change, but a significant one. My elegant old colleague, Mr. Safer, say, interviews the courtly speaker of Britain's House of Commons, and midway through the exchange, leans back in his chair, purses his lips, gazes reflectively skyward, and inquires, "Madam Speaker, have you ever had a black man?" And Leslie Stahl, mid-interview herself, perhaps as a recurring attention-getter, slowly sneaks her skirt up her thigh while talking, say, to Ralph Reed, does that Sharon Stone thing. A natural for a summer rerun, if ever I saw one. Yes, despite the protestations of William Bennett, Senators Lieberman and Dole, sex is a hot commodity. A fact grasped long ago by Jerry Springer and Jenny Jones and the rest, and now, if late to the game, by 60 Minutes, just do it Hewitt. In closing, Mr. Hewitt, how about a weekly celebrity sex segment? Initial profile subject, the host of this radio program, The Sex Life of John Donald Imus. Segment title, 60 Seconds. For Media Watch, this is Walter Cronkite. Thank you and good night.
Whiskey River, take my mind. Don't let her memory torture me. Whiskey River, don't run dry. You're all I got, take care of me. Whiskey River, take my mind. Don't let her memory torture me. Whiskey River, don't run dry. You're all I've got, take care of me. Imus in the morning.
This is my brother, Fred Imus. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning. I don't have any patience, so make it quick.
Why don't you have any patience?
You are. That's how you are. Yeah, can't tell you anything. You have no patience.
Well,
Had a mishap with the dog on the trip.
I don't want to hear about it. We don't want to hear about anything about bowel movements with the dog. Just eliminate that.
Oh, no, it wasn't just a slight mishap.
I don't even want to hear about it.
Your condom slipped off?
Your radio sounds funny in the morning. You're listening to Imus in the morning.
Who's over to go to the bathroom, you know?
Right.
No.
dog on the leash, I'm not paying any attention where he is.
Yeah.
And I'm looking down and I'm going on his head.
In the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
It's 8 minutes till the hour, and I am Imus in the morning. Well, there's a little item in the paper about these morons at this radio station all screaming at one another yesterday. Who's the Steinbrenner lackey?
Arthur Richmond.
Arthur Richmond, just an old Steinbrenner butt boy, as is Bill Madden, who writes for the New York Daily News here in New York. Apparently, now Richmond is saying that if everybody knew the real deal on the hitting coach, Rick Down, who Steinbrenner fired, then it would blow the lid off of everything. So we're wondering, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that rumor?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a bag of boys' underwear in a locker room? Is it racism of some kind?
I don't
some
know.
kind of racial remark he made?
Snort and blow with Steve Howe or something?
Is it a cocaine thing? What is it?
He says it's a very here's another quote from him. He says it's a very confidential matter, and I'm not going to get into this, but it was big.
Well,
Sometimes it's not everybody's business, he said.
So that's a gutless old fool for even floating the rumor without clarifying exactly what it is.
Accusation without evidence.
Well, here's how this conversation was just between Russ Salzberg and Mike Francesa and Chris Russo was described yesterday. That occurred yesterday, described in this morning's New York Newsday. It was 30 minutes of Russ screaming, "Hold on a second, whoa, whoa, whoa." And, well, what's the other phrase he uses?
You want to know what?
You want to know what? Which is just, he says to the point that it's just nauseating.
Let me tell you something.
And you know, he's by the way, he's a lovely guy.
Yes,
He's
he
a
is.
Terrific television sportscaster. But he's got, there's a chip loose, and he has a frightening inability to express himself clearly and concisely. And this annoying habit of repeating phrases to the point that it's, makes you nauseous.
An ice pick into your eardrum.
Do you want to know what? And whoa, 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 and hold on a second. And they're screaming, and it's incomprehensible.
Sound like a bunch of sanitation workers arguing with each other.
Over there, Paige.
Let me tell you this here now.
Bernie, get a hold of Lupica, Mike Lupica, and find out, see if he wants to go on the air after 7 o'clock and try to, and see if he knows what the Rick Down situation is, and if he's willing to go public with it. That's one.
10-4.
And two, what the real deal is here.
Yeah.
Although we think Lupica is in Showalter's camp, he's a fired Yankee manager, and who I also think is probably a weasel. Buck Showalter. He just looks like a weasel to me, and he just his body language just suggests there's a paranoid little geek.
A weaselish slink to it? Okay.
Yeah, but Steinbrenner is a fat, gutless coward and a convicted felon and a Nazi, so he doesn't get any worse than Steinbrenner. I mean, it's just pathological. It's his situation. And it's only fun because it gives us an opportunity to revel in the agony of these folks.
There you go.
See if we can't somehow ruin Rick Down's life. I guess that's really what it's about.
Imus in the morning.
Actually, here, what was the deal with you and Dick Cavett now? Was he married at the time?
He was married at the time, but I thought, that could fall apart. We're happy endings. Just around the corner, always.
So it never went anywhere. It's just
No,
like
never
the Elvis
anyway,
deal.
because I am a height bigot. It's because
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Good morning, Mr. Cavett.
Good morning. Was the point of the joke that I lack stature? I mean, is that the...
I don't...
only in terms of your height.
Hey, I must bring the pet snake out of the drawer and watch what Mary does.
Apparently you already tried that, Dick.
Now, wait a minute.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
All right, babies, if you're sick of sleeping on that old lumpy...
Gotta pick the games, and you'll see how difficult it is. Coming back.
Under the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Listen.
5 o'clock, Mike. Coming back.
Under the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
What happened is that Mike Francesa and Russ Salzberg got into a screaming match yesterday. They both work at this radio station in New York, and it's the best of sports radio when we can get the hosts fighting with one another and hopefully reduce it to some kind of violence.
Hey, Mike!
Cut the nonsense.
He brought up Rick Down to you, and you don't think...
At 2 minutes.
And that, it went on for an hour like that.
Like his
Teamsters meeting or something.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Anyway, here to explain his side of it is Mike Francesa. Good morning, Mike.
The only one lower on the food chain than Steinbrenner is you.
What have I done now?
You know, the way you play those, you know, Nixon was fairer with the tapes than you have been this morning.
Imus in the morning on the fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
WFAN 2020 Sports. Good evening at 5 o'clock. This is John Minko.
Baby, you gotta love it. Imus in the morning, 2020 Sports.
You got it again with a chance for an empty netter. Hits the red line, fires it. Hey! Shoots and scores! And ladies and gentlemen, Imus has just left the building.
A special night for Mario and the Penguins. Good morning. Mike Brain with sports. Mike Lang with a call. NHL action for Pittsburgh last night. Penguins edged the Tampa Bay Lightning 10-0. Lemieux set a goal and 6
No,
assists.
that's not his name.
No, come on.
Lemieux. It's Lemieux.
Lemieux?
Yeah.
It was an embarrassing loss for the Lightning. Their coach, Terry Crisp, was asked about their rough performance.
Oh, when you say a rough performance, you're being rather kind to us, really.
Top of the morning to you, Terry.
Badly, yes, but I like it too.
One fight may have been canceled, but the other bout certainly will still go on. The Tyson Mathis bout called off because of Tyson's thumb injury. But two manly heavyweights continue to get ready to get it on Saturday night in Vegas. Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield. Evander was asked if Tyson's cancellation affects him.
I don't think, I was up against him. I'm still against Riddick Bowe.
Sounds like Evander's not really sure who his opponent is.
No, he's sure who it is. Yeah, that's a good point. What does he care?
He said he didn't think he was up against Tyson.
Well, he was trying to be kind of what a stupid question it was.
I think you're giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I think we have to. He's a nice guy.
He's also a very funny guy and an excellent radio guest.
Yeah, right.
Well, he wasn't interested in talking to me, so that's fine. I don't blame him.
There's only one person worse than him on this air.
Chinkachavin.
Yeah.
Oh, God, the worst.
Chinkachavin.
And Judy Woodruff.
Well, Judy was actually okay, and we re-listened to the interview.
Yeah,
Judy was fine.
Re-evaluations. Fights between hosts Steve Summers, Russ Salzberg, and Mike Francesa were a hot topic among the New York Jets yesterday. And quarterback Boomer Esiason was asked about it from our roving reporter, Steve Cohen.
What do you think about the radio feud going on at WFAN between Russ Salzberg, Steve Summers, and Mike Francesa?
Well, I'll tell you what. You put him near a food tray and it'll be a bigger fight.
Boomer appearing at the Comedy Loft this Friday and Saturday night.
Coach made the right decision, obviously.
Absolutely, get him out of there. No yucks in the huddle with that moron. Almighty.
And because there are not many sports stories to report on, I thought I'd use my allotted time to tell you a little about myself.
No.
I'm 6 foot even, 175 pounds. I enjoy a good laugh and a warm hug. And my favorite dish is chicken francaise. I'll have more personal anecdotes coming up next hour on the Imus in the Morning program. That's sports. I'm Mike Brain.
23 after the hour, here on the Imus in the Morning program. Well, we were talking, examining his will. Andy?
Last will and testament of Andy Rooney. Do you have one of these things? It's a pretty good idea when you get to be my age. Over the years, you're supposed to update what's stipulated here. You know, who gets what, when, as your circumstances change. Here's part of mine. I, Andy Rooney, being of sound mind, do hereby bequeath a lot of stuff to my daughter, Emily Rooney. Well, there's a problem right there. I'm of sound mind. My daughter has revealed herself to be a mental case. Did you hear what she said about Imus the other day?
Yeah.
That his program is coarse, verging on dirty. And folks like Senator Joe Lieberman are hypocrites for appearing on it. Well, what's that make me, Emily? Chopped ethics? Lieberman, in case you didn't know, is on this wild-eyed psycho mission with Bill Bennett to clean up daytime TV.
Yeah.
And Emily objects to the senator's guest shots on Imus, since the program now and again has reference to this or that body part. You know, a breast, a penis, gonad, or whatever. Believe me, we tried to raise her better, but what's a parent to do? Here's why I'm cutting Emily out of the Andy Rooney will. I'm doubtless going to write another book sometime, and will want Imus to hump it for me. I need a daughter putting that relationship in jeopardy. Not to mention the fact that when Emily got dumped at ABC, the first person to stand up for her and invite her on his oh-so-scurrilous program was, yes, Don Imus. I guess it takes a hypocrite to identify a hypocrite. This is a picture of Emily. Pretty girl. And here, Emily, is a picture of Bill Bennett. Look what I'm doing with your picture and Bill's, Emily. See? I'm putting them face to face, and horrors, rubbing them together. Look, to quote the current president of the United States, go, baby. Well, in view of Emily's sudden piety, I penned some thoughts to her, and I'll share some of them. Dear Emily, I began, it's Dad. With apologies to Tim Russert and Bob Carey, remember when ABC cut you off at the knees and you couldn't even get a gig at the Buck-a-Rub friction manipulation station? Who stood up for you? The I-Man. Yeah. So to say I'm disappointed in your behavior now is an understatement. Yeah. But it's not the first time you've disappointed your parents, is it? I mean, that Buck-a-Rub thing. Well, some people can work with their hands, some can't, I guess. That'll be fine. And where was it you did finally wind up? Oh, yes, at the TV network that bears the name of what you're not. Fox. Well, I'll close for now. Imus is about to conduct another one of those brilliant interviews that you say intersperses his vulgarity. This one's with Anna Quinlan, I believe. You know, the author and Pulitzer Prize winner who's been on the show dozens and dozens of times. I hope this doesn't come as a shock, Emily, but she has nice breasts, and I have a penis. Fine. Love, Dad.
Her name was Sheila. We used to go to Sunday school, and every day she would say, do you want to come out and play? And I'd say, I'd love to, Sheila, but I can't, because your dad works for my dad. Your dad!
Numbers 1 through 3.
Yeah. That you're not paying for. If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
You know, if somebody wants to beat the Cowboys, they've got to spend millions of dollars and buy the team to do it. I mean, and then claim the coaches had something to do with it.
Well, shut up. What a sore loser. You're a dork, John.
Oh, they won the game.
They won the... What's the matter with you?
They didn't change the team since Friday when you were predicting that they were going to win.
Yeah.
Wake up.
That's exactly right.
Bernard's a jerk.
You leave Bernard alone.
Hey, go Browns.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Speed goes tell me no letter 'cause I can't read. Don't be long 'cause I be gone. We gon' rock and roll all night long 'cause I'm ready. I'm willing. And
Imus in the morning.
Come back with the Yankee press conference on the other side.
Mike and the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
What happened is that Mike Francesa and Russ Salzberg got into a screaming match yesterday. They both work at this radio station in New York, and it's the best of sports radio when we can get the hosts fighting with one another and hopefully reduce it to some kind of violence.
Hey, Mike! Cut the nonsense.
You brought a brick down to you, and you don't think...
At 2 minutes...
Well, no, it went on for an hour like that.
Like a Teamsters meeting or something.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning. Anyway, here to explain his side of it is Mike Francesa. Good morning, Mike.
The only one lower on the food chain than Steinbrenner is you.
What have I done now?
You know, the way you play those things, you know, Nixon was fairer with the tapes than you've been this morning.
Imus in the morning on the fan. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
This is Susan Waldman live at Yankees.
Ambassador is the Washington Bureau Chief for NBC News and host of Meet the Press. You saw that dopey talk show on CNBC?
Yeah.
So last Sunday on Meet the Press, we have Bob Carey on, and he's talking about in-running the president. At what point, why don't you tell me exactly what happened here?
I don't remember. I said, well, what happens if you crawl out on a limb and the president saws it off? And he looked at me and said, someone's already sawed off one of my limbs. And I said, oh, my God.
Your radio sounds funny in the morning. You're listening to Imus in the morning.
If you were on Meet the Press, and I sit across from you on Meet the Press, and you said something very dumb, and I said, you know, that's really a turkey of an idea. And then I look over and see your neck. I mean, I'd feel awful.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Well,
Imus in the morning. 2020 Sports. You'll know in 4 seconds who wins it. Touchdown! No! No! They say he didn't make it. Virginia's upset Florida State. Florida State State falls short in the final seconds. Good morning. Mike Brain with sports number 2 and previously undefeated Florida State losing at number 24 Virginia 33-28. The Seminoles with a chance to win it at the end. A running play in the final seconds stopped at the goal line as time expired. Florida State head coach Bobby Bowden was so distraught with the loss, he announced he's quitting when his contract is up.
The deal is that it will be my last year next year.
Bowden, a bit of a sore loser. School officials hope that he reconsiders after the loss gets away from him a
I
little
don't
bit.
think that was him, do you, Charles?
It just didn't sound like it to
Didn't
me.
sound like him. It didn't sound like it had anything to do with it. Why are you wearing one of Fred's shirts? Trying to suck up to me?
Yes.
Well, it's not working.
In baseball, Yankees have a new manager.
Is it?
No, apparently not.
Press on here.
It's Joe Torre who takes over for Buck Showalter. Torre knows Showalter was popular with the players.
Remember where I came from in St. Louis, I replaced Whitey Herzog. And that was no easy thing to do either.
Clearly.
But again, I'm going to be me.
He's going to be me. In fact, he's got to be me.
Oh, no.
Oh, here we go. I got to be me.
No.
And that reminds me of a song.
Please do not sing.
Whether I'm right, oh, whether I'm wrong, whether I find a place in this world or never belong, I gotta be me. I gotta be me. What else can I be? I got to be me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's actually not bad.
Yeah, you could be a lounge singer.
Yeah,
Yeah, that.
no, heck yeah.
I've heard it worse.
Delbert McClure.
Thank you very much. It's 22 after the hour. Do you have anything else?
In boxing, Riddick Bowe at weigh-in for Saturday night's heavyweight fight, the lightest he's been in 3 years, 362 pounds. Vander Holyfield, meanwhile, at 213, a scheduled 12-rounder tomorrow in Las Vegas.
What did Bo weigh?
240.
Wilfred Brimley here for Quaker Oats Oatmeal. Well, leaves are falling. They already got the Christmas lights up down to the mall. And once again, the holidays are bearing down on us like a runaway gas tanker with a skeleton at the wheel. Folks at Quaker come to me the other day and said, Wilfred, how about letting us in this year on some of them recipe secrets your mom taught you way back when? So, welcome to Wilfred's Open Hearth Kitchen and lesson number 1, Brimley Bird Bastin Basics. First ingredient, you know it, sure. Quaker Oats Oatmeal, perking up any basting batter. And it'll help keep your cholesterol down. Got a 2-quart pan here, 8-9 inches deep, see there? And just saying, fill me up with something wet and warm, ain't it?
Wet and warm?
Well, let's not disappoint her. I've already brought this here package of Quaker Oats Oatmeal to what I like to call a nice, smooth, come-hither simmer. Got that?
Excuse me, Mr. Brimley, but I don't see come hither in our copy here.
Well, I was just ad-libbing a little, son, keeping her fresh.
Well, all right, we can go with that.
Sure you can. And you'll like it because it'll help keep your cholesterol down.
Fine.
Now then, let's see if we can't find this old Mr. Thomas Q. Turkey around here. Here we go. Look at there. Ain't she a beaut? Firm, full breast, and look at them legs.
Are you looking at Sandy, Mr. Brimley, or the turkey?
I'm looking at the bird, youngster. What do you take me for?
Well, I just thought that...
Yeah, well, think in one hand and pour a fistful of nice, warm, wet, and drippy Quaker Oats oatmeal in the other and see which one of them fills up first. In fact, that's the next step in the Brimley Bazaar Bird Basting Basics method.
Bazaar?
This is where you do your actual basting. Pour that oatmeal about body temperature into your cupped right hand.
Mr. Brimley, why don't you use a turkey baster?
The Brimley method don't need one, son. Then to make your 1995 holidays precedent-setting fat-free Brimley basting batter, grab a hold of your own dead bird.
No.
Aim her at Target Tom sitting there in the middle of that plate.
No.
And I think you can get the next step from what us famous chefs like to say is an inherent act of primal basic instinct.
No.
Before you can holler Sharon Stones on Emily Rooney, you'll have yourself a Brimley basic boner. A cherry smile, a splatter on the platter, a Marlboro dangling out of your mouth, and an official certificate on the way from Quaker Oats declaring you a Wilfred Brimley master baster. Yes, sir, Quaker Oats and holiday meal molesting. It's the right thing to do.
No, it's not. Wilfred Brimley here in the Irish Supporting Program.
It is not the right thing.
Well, no, it's not.
It's a disgusting...
American woman, gonna mess your mind. American woman, she gonna mess your mind. American woman, gonna mess your mind. American woman, gonna mess your mind. Say A, say M, say E, say R, say I, C, say A, woman, gonna mess your mind.
Imus in the morning.
What I miss in the morning program, the once and future, well, maybe not if he doesn't fight, heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson. Good morning, champ. Don't do that.
Morning, Mr. Chump.
Yeah.
My thumb's broken.
I heard that.
It hurts really bad.
Yeah.
Rock Newman broke it.
What?
He's got this pay-per-view fight between Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield. Gonna charge people $50 to watch these two meatbags fight. When I was gonna fight on Fox for free, so Rock said, "Hey champ, you're killing me here. Nobody's gonna want to pay to watch Riddick when you're gonna fight for free." And I said, "Gee, that's too bad, Rock. But people want to see me. Matter of fact, people would pay to see me step in the ring with Eunice Shriver before they'd watch Riddick fight for free."
Yeah.
And Rock said, "You remember the movie Rocky?" And I said, "Of course." And he said, "Remember at the beginning of the movie when Rocky worked for the loan shark, what he did to the guys who didn't pay up?" And I said, "Yeah, he broke their thumb." And before the words was all the way out of my mouth, Rock punched me right in the nose. And that's how I broke my thumb. I'd kick his ass, but he's in with that Minister Farrakhan and all those bow tie wearing dudes. They're scary. So I just gotta pretend this didn't happen and say I hurt myself sparring.
Sure.
I'm sick of all the violence in the world, Mr. Chump. Bosnia, the Middle East, domestic violence, sports talk show hosts, Emily Rooney, getting ugly on CNN. Not that getting ugly is all that hard for her off the air. She thinks breast is your favorite word.
Yeah.
Here's my favorite word, cow. Now what? She turned on you, Mr. Chump. I don't like that. If I wasn't on parole, I'd consider going back into the beating up bitches business again.
That'll be fine.
But I think I'll just get James Brown to do it for me. Godfather's got to get his act together. It's one thing to be on stage doing hot pants and screaming, "Hit me!" But he got to know that once he's off stage, he can't be hitting them women in their hot pants.
No.
I guess that's the one good thing that came out of the O.J. Simpson trial. There's a lot more public attention turned toward the problem of wife abuse. Like Burt Reynolds taking out his frustrations about his faltering career on that fine tenderoni Lonnie Anderson. Hey, Burt, it's not her fault you're a shitty actor. Maybe he's just jealous she had better wigs than him. And Trini Lopez, if I had a hammer, I'd bash my girlfriend's head in. No mas, Trini, no mas. I still think there's not enough attention drawn to husband abuse, though. I mean, as healthy and in shape as Deirdre is, we know she's beating you up. Otherwise, why would you be eating all that tofu, seaweed, and kale?
The former heavyweight champion of the world.
Very good point.
Yeah, it is. I'm Mike Tyson at the Imus One program. Well, I'm reading a wire.
Well, I mean, come on.
I don't talk that way.
You do too. You did. It was blatant baby talk that time, and I'm sick of it.
Please. She's a little sweetheart, so.
You love me? No, you don't.
Oh, man, come on.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Rock Newman spoke yesterday. Mm-hmm. Fairly inappropriate remarks from Mr. Newman, but the only person there was, everybody else seemed to be fairly inclusive, I thought, in their remarks.
Maybe his Bentley got a flat tire.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Now, let me talk to you about this week has been re-examining his will.
1, 2, 3. Imus in the morning.
Barbara Streisand's concert performance, a thumbs-up review, man. Well, how can you like Elvis and Barbara Streisand? How do you resolve that?
Makes no sense.
He should be caned.
Maybe he's hosing her.
That's not. Now, see,
There you go.
That's what Mr. Shapiro's
exactly
talking
what I'm
about.
talking about.
Can't you say uplifting things about the president?
I can't think of any.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
First Lady says the stress of her public life has taxed every fiber of her being. That's her quote. Well,
She's like Mary Jo Buttafuoco, except she doesn't have a bullet in her head.
Imus in the morning.
fine.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Well, it's exactly 1 year before the election.
Boomer Science and NFL picks all coming up this afternoon.
Mike and the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
In the fashion business, you got it.
Mike and the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Listen, we'll see you tomorrow after the fight. Enjoy your weekend on the fan, huh?
Mike and the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
In North Hollywood, California, the host of The Tonight Show, Jay Leno. Good morning, Jay.
Hey, Imus. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Have you read about this? After all the controversy on that United Airlines flight from Buenos Aires, which, by the way, didn't have that much Buenos Aires circulating through the vents once an investment banker decided to make that, decided to make right there on a service card.
Yeah.
Continental Airlines is now introducing new in-flight entertainment, free boil lancing and prostate massages in first class. See, who says I'm not on the cutting edge, Imus? Remember when Arsenio said he was going to kick my ass?
Yeah.
Gee, whatever happened to Arsenio? Have you seen him lately?
Well-
Wonder what he's doing. I'll tell you what he's doing. He's standing out in front of my mansion in a jockey uniform holding a lantern. Eddie Murphy won't take his calls anymore. Spike Lee would rather put Phil Graham in one of his movies. Russell Simmons won't even put him on the Def Jam. He got used to hearing all those clowns in his audience going, ooh, 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 ooh. You know what he's got to get used to hearing now?
No.
Excuse me, we'd like a little more coffee and then the check. Chevy Chase, knocking him off the air wasn't enough. I'd like to think I got him hooked on painkillers again. Although if it was me who did those last few movies, I'd eat Prozac like they were peanuts regardless. The only thing he could do well was fall down. Matter of fact, he was so good at it, he made his career fall down. He couldn't get a job as a regular on Saturday Night Live now. That's why Letterman's calling it quits. Can't take the heat. He's never gotten over NBC passing on him in favor of me. Go back to doing those goofy weather reports, Dave. It's over. Leave now before that gap between your teeth gets as wide as the ever-growing gap between our ratings. People would rather watch infomercials for the Miracle Mop than sit through another top 10 list. You got to appeal to the old farts. Why do you suppose all that lame stuff I do got me to number one? Drop that little dental prosthetic of yours in a glass of water and complain about your prostate. Maybe that'll get you a couple of more viewers. But if you were smart, you'd get up from behind the desk, walk outside to that souvenir stand those two camel jockeys run next to the Ed Sullivan Theater, and apply for a sales position now. Don't tell Paul, though. He's done enough chemicals over the years. He'll be playing green onions for at least a month after you're gone. Imus in the morning.
Well, I used to suffer 6 WFAN New York.
Mike and the Mad Dog, Sports Radio 66, WFAN. Imus in the morning, flashback. Hey, Bubba, what are you reading?
God's Other Son, Beavis. It's my friend Don Imus's book.
Book suck.
Oh, you'd like this one, Beavis. It's got the F word in it about 1 billion times.
Cool. Any sex parts?
Oh, yeah.
Read me one.
I don't think I could do that, Beavis. But here, let me show you one. This here's a scene between Billy Saul Hargis and his stepmother. Page 91.
Whoa! She says hot steaming.
Yep, she does. Boy, that step Edna makes my knees knob.
I'm getting a Woodrow.
You know, I feel a little chubber coming on myself, Beavis.
From the scene with Step Edna.
No, this picture of Imus on the back.
You're homo. You're homo. You're like 1, 2, 3. Imus in the morning.
Hello, Wilfred Brimley here for Quaker Oats Oatmeal. Well, leaves are falling. They already got the Christmas lights up down to the mall. And once...
Imus in the morning.
Imus in the morning. 2020 Sports.
The snap, the hold, the kick is on its way, and we're out of the Windy City. The Steelers win it. The Steelers win it. The Steelers win it in overtime. They upset the Bears, and the Jinx is gone.
And the snap was a little bit low, but Smart did a good job of holding the ball, setting the ball up for the kick. And you betcha the Steelers, for the first time in 12 games, away games against the Chi Bears in their history, have beaten the Chi Bears down here. It feels good. It feels precious as my juice is flowing, and I'm running to the locker room.
Thrilling NFL weekend. Good morning. Right. Mike Green with sports. Bill Hildrove and Myron Cope with the call. Pittsburgh winning in Chicago. New England also wins in New York against the Jets. The Jets fan booing quarterback Bubby Brister. And Brister ripped the fans afterwards.
Obviously, it just shows me they ain't got a clue what's going on because, we're just having troubles on offense. It's not just a quarterback position. And, if you can't see that, it's not very smart.
No, sir. Jets now 2-8 on the year. Worst record in the NFL. But head coach Rich Kotite's still proud of his guys.
We're all disappointed, but we'll also know that we didn't leave anything in this locker room.
Indeed, they did pack up all the helmets and pads, took all their clothes, wallets, sturdy towels, and left the locker room spotless after the game was over. The big story of the NFL, Browns leaving Cleveland. Press conference scheduled for today. Owner Art Mordell will announce they're moving to Baltimore. That's where they'll play in '96. Of course, it still has to get league approval from the other owners, but former Brown great Jim Brown can't see them moving from Cleveland Stadium.
It's a great stadium, a great city, great fans are here. It would be a tragedy, but we can't speculate. I mean, they tell me it's a done deal, but Art hasn't said it.
Wake up, Jim. Art's in Baltimore today.
Yeah, hello.
Finally, in boxing, Riddick Bowe still celebrating his win over Evander Holyfield on Saturday. Bowe overcame a knockdown to score an 8th-round TKO. Holyfield gave credit to Bowe for holding on.
The whole thing is that, I heard him and I hit him with some clean shots, but he was able to keep his hands up, and he fought smart when he was hurt. He didn't get to the point they were trading shots, and I stayed right there, and I was trying to hit him, but he was able to recover.
Evander sounds like he could go a few more rounds after.
That was a disconcerting fight to watch, and
Make a donuts.
let me tell you something about him. Okay, go ahead. There's nothing, because I get here a little bit before 5 o'clock Eastern time in the morning, so I have an hour to listen to him. Yep. There's nothing he doesn't know about sports.
Full of energy, too.
And he's amazing.
He really is.
I mean, the people call up and ask him about who was on the 56 Milwaukee Bucks if they had a team then. The starting lineup, he knows.
He does indeed. Or
Unless these calls are plants or something, but I mean...
No, they're not. No, they're not.
You're a big Milwaukee fan. Big Bucks fan. Yeah, I remember those guys. Yeah. I know them all. You're a big Jets fan.
That's him.
All right, I enjoyed it muchly. Here's Charles McCall in the news.
That's Joe. We love Joe.
Well, he seems pretty good to me for somebody who does it.
Yeah, he is good, and he knows everything. He really does. Yeah.
And
Good guy.
encyclopedic. Yeah, and he talks to the callers, and he's not disrespectful, and he lets them, these morons are going to call about, these sports things. Sure. So we'll go ahead and talk to him. So
Good conversations.
But I mean, sometimes it sounds weird. I mean, he just knows these obscure things about nothing,
He'll pull a fact out, or as you say, of some individual or something that is even ancillary to what is going on. That he knows it all.
It's like us. Well, you know what it is? It's like us with politics. It's just
That's his deal.
it's tedious if you don't care about it. You know what I'm saying?
What you gonna play now? Bobby? I don't know. But whatsoever I play, it's got to be Imus in the morning. Imus in the morning.
Hey, Bubba, explain something to me. Why did this Richard Moogie dude change his name?
He didn't change his name, Beavis. He just prefers Dick.
Yeah. So does Jan Wenner.
John Winter did. Well, he didn't change his name.
You know who should change his name? That Ben Nightlamp Campbell dude.
Ben Nighthorse Campbell, the senator from Colorado. He didn't change his name, just his party affiliation.
Why'd he do that?
He said he could no longer support the agenda of the Democratic Party. Richard Shelby from Alabama did the same thing last November.
How come no Republicans want to become Democrats?
Well, I think the GOP would like it if Mark Hatfield changed his party. They're all screaming to have him removed from his post on the Senate Appropriations Committee.
Why'd they want to do that?
Because he was against the balanced budget amendment.
Maybe he should change his name to Dick.
Oh, they're already calling him that, Beavis.
Hey, Dick, you suck.
Infinity Broadcasting. All rights reserved. Imus in the Morning is a presentation of WFAN and Westwood One Entertainment. Now erase that, Rosemary. This concludes the entertainment and revenue-generating portion of your broadcast day. We now return you to the rest of your local programming schedule, an indecipherable embarrassment of broadcasting incompetence that compelled the station to subscribe to the Imus in the Morning program in the first place. The entertainment and revenue-generating portion of the broadcast day, the Imus in the Morning program, will resume tomorrow morning. Check your local listings for time and schedule.
Sports scores and sports news, it's WFAN 2020 Sports at the top of the hour, 20 past the hour, and 20 before the hour. That's 2020 Sports all day, every day on the Fan. Sports Radio 66, WFAN New York. WFAN 2020 Sports.
It's Channel 1. Good morning. This is Mike Breen.
Greeny and Minko with the updates. Fast Eddie Schizzeri and davening Dove Kramer across the way. And as always, you the fans. Until tomorrow, the sweater and the schmata saying bye-bye, so long, and toodles.
Good morning, Mr. Brinkley. Good morning. How are you? Let me take you back to 1943 here for just a second. Okay, it's 1943. You've just gone to work for NBC in Washington. You're looking for a place to live. Who was this announcer at NBC who crawled in the sack with you?
Well, he's dead now, so I will tell you. His name is Kenneth Banghart, and he offered to let me rent one of his unused rooms, and I very happily took it. And what happened was that one night in the middle of the night, he tried to crawl into bed with me, and I told him to get out. He said, if I have to get out of your bed, you have to get out of my apartment. So I had to go apartment hunting again.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
My own son was in school here and sang in the choir, singing Christmas carols.
That was Alan, right?
Right, And the same music critic reviewed them and wrote a very nasty review. And I don't know if I should say this or not, but I said to my wife, that son of a bitch, if I can get my hands on him, I will kill him.
In the morning on the fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good afternoon at 1 o'clock. This is John Minko.
No wonder you have no credibility as a coach.
That's what's happening. This is John Minko with 2020 Sports on WFAN, the flagship station for New York Jets football.
Mike and the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66, WFAN. They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can. It's Mike and the Mad Dog on the fan. Nothing can get by 'em. Turn it on and try 'em. Mike and the Mad Dog,
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? Mike and Mad Dog Radio program on the 6th day of November, 1995. Nice to have you with us, talking about the world of sports. 718-937-6666. Two-way sports talk telephone number. Jeff Hughes and Robert W. Gelb across the way as the Mike and the Mad Dog crew back from Las Vegas on what was a delightful flight home.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
There's a lot of talk today. Imus in Washington's senior political analyst, the late Richard M. Nixon.
Yes, indeed. And I wish to thank you right up top for having me on your very fine program. Imus in the morning. Now then, issue 1. Where's my stinking catalog? I've already bought a bunch of Fred apparel, as you can see. But you're telling me the salsa can actually cause me to experience, erections once again?
Well, in fact, that's our guarantee. It'll give a bone to a zombie.
Oh, good. Very positive news in the health arena. It needn't be over, though you're pushing up clover, or something to that effect. In that case, by the way, we might want to ship a batch to Evander Holyfield, wouldn't you say? In fact, let me just make that issue 1 today, J.D. Holyfield Bo, the row with the cow. I mean, did you see Riddick?
Well,
and Rock Newman said he was in shape for what? The Fudge Olympics? He looked like he had eaten the Million Man March, and he managed to barely beat a guy with an artificial heart. What's that? Lennox Lewis would dismember him. Well, issue 2, speaking of conflict, the Bosnia peace talks. Hayden in Dayton. Here's what my years of geopolitical experience say should occur. 2 of the principals have already been indicted at The Hague as war criminals, and the other guy should be. They've got them cornered there at Wright-Patterson. So get them in their Quonset huts, padlock them, and call in Janet, Johnny Reno, and the Sterno Inferno boys. Put some real heat on them, eh, dude? Or, speaking of the Million Man March, play tapes of Farrakhan at them until they either sign a peace agreement or hang themselves. That'd make a Muslim start grabbing for the old wafers and the wine, wouldn't it? Okay, issue 3, Larry King, J.D. Now, I know he's a friend of yours. I understand that. And it's why I bring this up. He's sick, and he's crying out for help. There is no other possible explanation for that column he wrote following the death of Prime Minister Rabin. Did you see it? Titled, Now It Can Be Told, Golda Meir Was My Lover. I mean, for God's sake, Larry, I know it may come as a shock to you, but the planet really did manage to exist for several billions of years prior to your presence here. Difficult as it may be for you to accept.
Yeah.
You would have thought I knew that Larry not only negotiated the Camp David Accords, he also wrote the first 5 books of the Bible or something. Get some therapy, you paranoid putz. Oh, and before I move off this general subject, another of your media associates, Jeff Greenfield, eminent columnist, correspondent, and author, went on the Lauren Hutton talk show to hump his novel, The People's Choice. Here's my question. What does he turn down? Ricky Lake? Probably not. I'm betting if she told him he had to go on wearing a diaper but could hold up the book, he's there. Pitiful. And there's the all-seeing Dick Eye for today, J.D. The eagle vision of Dick Nixon, deceased former president of the United States.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? Imus in the morning.
Local fan highway patrol.
Imus in the morning. 2020 sports. Here's a give to the running back. Breaking loose inside the 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Dallas. Dallas touchdown, 39 yards. By Emmitt Smith.
Dallas does Philadelphia. Good morning. Mike Breen with sports. Jack Buck with the call. Cowboys just toying with the Eagles last night, 34-12. Another big game for Emmitt. 158 yards, 2 TDs. Emmitt gave credit once again to the big mooses on the offensive line.
The whole is they playing as overall unit.
Dallas now 8-1 on the season. What is he talking about there?
I don't know, for crying out loud.
Meanwhile, other NFL news, Browns owner Art Modell made it official yesterday. He'll move his team to Baltimore in time to play there in '96. Some differences of opinion now on Mr. Modell. Here's Maryland Governor Paris Glendening.
I have developed the utmost respect for Art Modell.
But the mayor of Cleveland, Michael White, describes Modell in a different way.
Like a thief in the night.
Modell still needs approval from NFL owners. He needs 3/4 of them to approve it. Several have already said they will vote against the move.
Well, Tony Kornheiser has a column in the sports section of this morning's Washington Post pointing out that they're building a 70,000 seat stadium in Baltimore, which would not have been enough for Cleveland, because they put 80,000 in there.
Yeah.
And then they had those people dressed up in those dog outfits. I'm Rush Limbaugh. Good morning, Rush.
My friends, hovering over the fruited plain, shining the beacon of truth upon the umbra-shrouded heresy known as the Clinton administration, I am the helium blimp of bombast, Rush Limbaugh. This portion of the program brought to you by Whitewater, the mendacious scent of deceit, the official perfume of Hillary Clinton, so you know it stinks. Now on to more disturbing matters, and in light of my next subject, perhaps the choice of adjective here is unfortunate, but Alma Powell, who is, well, disturbed, has been made the victim of a sandbagging at the hands of the periodical I like to refer to as Time Light Newsweek. For this magazine to call attention to her prescription drug use is sordid and irrelevant. Now, I've made no boons about my problems with General Powell as a candidate. Perhaps that was also an unfortunate metaphor, but to suggest that Mrs. Powell is a monkey on her back is unconscionable. Well, whatever. A first lady whose grasp of reality is tenuous and whose mental health is somewhat suspect has no negative effect upon the presidency of the United States. Why, take Hill and Bill as a case in point. On second thought, maybe that's not such a good example after all. But let's examine the possible ramifications and consequences should Powell's pill-popping paramour join her husband in the White House, shall we? Those interminable receptions for heads of state, although a diplomatic prerequisite, painfully dull events. Imagine how much more fun they will be when the First Lady is someone who can be counted on to remove her beaded blouse, fling her bra in the punch bowl, and initiate a desperate search for microscopic aliens in the gravy boats. Bubba may sing like Elvis, but Alma actually speaks to the king. Let's go to the phones. Bob from Kansas, welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program.
Delos Rice from the Sunflower State. It's Senator Dole.
Hosannas to the man who will be king, if I have anything to do with it.
Just want to thank you for all the support. That stuff about Alma should work like a charm.
The very least I can do. With apologies to Sam and Dave, I am a dull man.
Elizabeth and I appreciate it.
Glad to lend you a hand.
Pardon me?
Coming up, metaphorical tips from Tim Russert. More after this. Just kick those left-wingers out the door. We're mad as hell and we won't take it no more. Just look at the opinion polls. We want that old guy, Robert Dole. I've had it up to here with liberals. We need a president with principles. Not a gigolo with no self-control. Hampshire Shuffle. Mark those ballots now. Senator, may I borrow your pen? Call him a relic, say he's over the hill. But he's still better than that imbecile Phil. No sex and violence at his movie show. Vote for that old guy, Robert Dole. You'll never see him with a bim roll. No knees are knocking with a $5 hole. Ain't got a prostate, but he's sure got a soul. We love that old guy, Robert Dole. Still like that old guy, Robert Dole. Bubba Clinton about to lose control. So I'm saying on your radio, give me that old guy, Robert Dole. Give me that old guy, Robert Dole. Bubba Clinton's about to lose control. So I'm saying on your radio, give me that old guy, Robert Dole. We want that old guy, Robert Dole. Bubba Clinton about to lose control. So I'm here saying on your radio, give me that old guy, Robert Dole. Still like 1, 2, 3.
Me a Mercedes Benz. My friends all drive Porsches. I must make amends. Worked hard all my lifetime. No help from my friends. So, oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? That's it. Imus in the morning.
Have you discovered what it's like?
Imus in the morning.
And here now, Imus in Washington Senior Military Affairs Advisor, the late General George S. Patton.
At ease, as you were. This is an emergency evaluation session for the purpose of examining the wussing out of leadership at the highest echelons of our government. Acronym WOOL, as in chief, as in bend over, bighorn, it's button the mutton time. Pitiful. Private, kill the lights. Give me the overhead. Slide 1. Pictured on this staff, upside down as a signal of distress, is an American flag. Pictured on this bar stool, upside down as a signal of excess, is an American fag. Save your letters. It's their term they use now themselves. Fine with me. Anyway, I'm afraid a certain tone, often associated with the latter, has begun to subvert the former in our great nation. Still with me? No way? Good. I'll proceed. We've just witnessed 2 examples of wuss-butt leadership. A wimp trail leads straight into the Oval Office as surely as that blood trail goes from Bundy to Rockingham. Next slide. This, as I'm sure you know, is President past Bush, Walker, Herbert, George, and loser. The man who prosecuted the glorious campaign known as Desert Storm has just aligned himself with a weepy-eyed, fur-fighting, food stamp-sucking, glass-ceiling-sobbing, cold cobra confiscating, Dalai Lama lace-licking left. People, George Herbert Walker Bush has resigned from the NRA. Eddie, I feel your pain. And his reason? Because the NRA, in a recent bulletin to its members, said federal agents wearing Nazi bucket helmets, jackboots, and stormtrooper outfits harass and intimidate law-abiding citizens. Here's my question. What is wrong with that? Adding to the insult and possible conspiracy, Bush's successor, Bill Clinton, on this marshmallow mission to Moscow, rolled up in a fetal position and begged Boris Yeltsin not to scare him during their discussions about selling nuclear technology to Iran. Pathetic. Result? Clinton and Warren Christopher think great progress was achieved because Yeltsin agreed not to sell Iran a f***ing water wheel or something as part of a larger package providing some camel-kissing Ayatollah with nuclear reactors. Here's my next question. Which way to the fallout shelters? It's like winning a promise from Timothy McVeigh that in the future he'll only rent from Hertz. 2 words, people, for Bush and Bubba, not happening. While controversial, it may be time for new leadership. For president, he ain't pretty, he's G. Gordon Liddy. Anybody who can stare you in the eye and smile as you drive a railroad spike through delicate body parts is okay by me. Thank you for your attention. That is all.
The late General George S. Patton Jr. here on the imus121 program at 7 minutes till the hour.